Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace the fuel pump on a 1987 120 horsepower Evinrude motor. So as you can see, we've got the fuel pump right here. This one currently has the oil injection, or the oil line disabled. You can see it's capped off. So this one's just pumping the fuel, and we're pre-mixing the gas 50/50 on this motor right now. So we're gonna be replacing this and pretty much replacing it and keeping it the same as it is now. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this thing off. It's pretty simple to get these off. The fuel pump right here is held in place by a bracket. As you can see, there's two bolts, one right here and then another one right down here. And then once we get that off, then we'll be able to take this thing, it'll be loose, we'll be able to take it off. And then we're going to have to disconnect the hoses. So we've got a hose right here that we're going to disconnect at the top. Down at the bottom, this one's already capped off, so we can leave that as it is. Then we have the hose right here in the middle. This is going to be bringing the fuel into the fuel pump. This one right here at the top is the fuel coming out of the fuel pump. And then down here, this last one over here to the right is going to be your pulse. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this thing loose and get those three off of there, and then we'll be ready to go ahead and replace this. Okay, so now that we've got the bracket off, we got these two bolts. You can see that it comes loose pretty easily. The other thing I forgot to mention was this wire. If you have the oil pump working or active, then you're also going to have to disconnect this wire right here. This wire should run up here and right behind this, like into this wiring harness right here. In my case, this was disconnected, but it was kind of pinched up behind here, so I had to kind of loosen this box up to get that out. But no big deal. Like I said, you just disconnect that, and then you'll be all set. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these hoses off, these connections. As you can see, I just loosened up the little clamps or whatever was holding these in, and then we're just going to pull these off. Sometimes these can be a little bit of a pain to get off. You know, after being on here for so long, these tubes like to seize onto these plastic pieces, so sometimes you really have to work them to get off, and try not to pull too hard because you don't want to break anything on this. So we're going to get these off, and then the fuel pump should come right out. Alright, so we've got the fuel pump off. It actually wasn't too bad. It came off pretty easily. So here we go. We took it off. We've got the bracket still attached to the fuel pump here. The replacement that I purchased does not come with the bracket. So I'm going to need to take this bracket off of this thing. It's pretty simple though. You just have like a couple bolts here. We got one there, got one there at the bottom, and then we got one over here at the other side. So that just comes right off. That's pretty easy. So we're going to take that bracket off, and then we'll be good to go. Here's a look at the motor without the fuel pump in it. So we have the feed to the fuel pump. This is the hose where the fuel exits, and then down here, all the way at the bottom, is where you have the is where you're going to see the pulse, which is kind of tough to see. It goes way down in there. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. Okay, there we go. So you see, that's where the pulse is. So that connects directly to the motor right there, and that's what's the compression of the engine is what's going to be operating that fuel pump there. So so that's it all apart. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take the bracket off of this old one, and we're going to put it on the new one, then we're going to get everything reassembled. Okay, so I've got the old one off. I've got the bracket off of it, and just kind of wanted to show you the comparison between the two. Here is the old one. Here's the one that I just took off the motor. Alright, and then next to that is the new one that's going to go on there. It's actually not brand new. This one is a pretty much like a refurbed one, but still in much better looking shape. with all new gaskets and diaphragm and everything in it. And so so those are the two. So now I'm just going to set this other one aside over here, and I'm going to put the new bracket onto this one. So the bracket's just going to go on there just like that. And then I'm just going to throw the bolts in there, and then I'm going to put the tube that goes onto the oil side of it, the one that's capped off with the bolt. We're going to stick that on there before we go and put this back on the motor. It'll just make things easier to put it on there now. And then we're just going to get everything attached back on there, buttoned up, and then we'll go ahead and run it and make sure everything's running properly. Alright, we got everything back on. So we got the bracket on the fuel pump here. We bolted that in. I first attached the hoses, all of the hoses on the bottom, so both of these two. I attached those before I bolted this thing back on, and then the last one I put on after I bolted it back on was this one. You don't have to do it that way, but in my case this is the hardest one to get on and off, so it was easier for me to put this the fuel hose that's coming out of it to the motor, to the carbs I mean. It was easier for me to do this one while everything was like solid and sturdy, so that's how I did it. And then your cable, if you're not connecting this, the VRO pump up, then usually what I'll do is I'll just put the cable in and out of the way over here, and then I'm just going to probably just zip tie that over here to a bunch of these other cables. So it's all in there, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and pump it up and start it up. The thing you want to look for when after you replace this is you want to go ahead and you want to give your bulb a couple good pumps until it gets hard, and then just come over here and inspect it and make sure that you don't have any leaks, especially where your hose fittings are. And also just inspect your new pump to make sure that in between, whenever there's a wherever there's bolts or anything like that, or a gasket, that you're not getting any leaks out of there too. And then once you've made sure that you don't have any fuel leaking out, then you can go ahead and get it started up and verify that it's running okay. Alright, so that's how you replace a VRO fuel pump on a Johnson Evinrude.